day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Power is Now teleconference. At this time, all participants are on a listen-only mode. Later, we'll conduct a question-and-answer session, with instructions will be given at that time. If you need operator assistance, please press star, then 0 on your touch-tone telephone. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. And now your host of the Power is Now, Eric Fraser. Sir, you may begin.
Good morning and welcome to the Power is Now teleconference. The phrase, the power is now, suggests that we maximize our potential for success in business and life when we act on information and opportunities now. The present is our future because the future is only a reflection of past decisions to act now. We are at our best and we maximize our success when we act now. That's what the Power is Now is all about, folks, acting on information now. My name is Eric Fraser, host of the Power is Now teleconference, and this is teleconference number 81. Can you believe it? 81 for those of you who have been with us from the very beginning. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I'm also the president of the Orange County Association of Real Estate Brokers, a chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And please go to OCAREB, as in boy.org, OKREP.org, and check out this wonderful chapter of NAREP in Orange County. In fact, you can go to the national website at NAREB, as in boy.com, to learn more about the organization. Tomorrow, in fact, our chapter is having an incredible event that you do not want to miss. Please go to the website and register for this event. We're going to have Carla Dennis. She's an enrolled agent, a business and tax strategist. If you know someone who's ever had any challenges with the IRS, especially as in real estate, she's the person you go to work out those offer and compromises, to negotiate with the IRS with settlements. And she specializes in real estate agents and professionals, and she's going to be talking about some of the things that agents are doing to get themselves in big trouble. And then in addition to Carla Dennis, we have Tom Oliphant, Executive Director of Infinity National Asset Management. Tom is actually now the co-owner of Infinity National Asset Management, and he's going to be talking about the opportunities to work with Infinity National. A lot of great things are happening within Infinity National. In fact, Jay Keister, the president of Infinity National, was on our teleconference a few months ago, and a lot has happened, folks. Again, you should come out to National University, and hear about protecting your assets and about the REO business at the Orange County Association of Real Estate Brokers. Go to OCAREB.org. Now, in addition to being a host of this show and the president of the NAREP chapter in Orange County, I'm also a very proud branch manager of Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, North Orange County markets. And, there are so many things that I like about Wells Fargo. I could go on and on. I mean, did you know that Wells Fargo was ranked by Fortune as number 39 in the world of most admired companies, number 2 by Business Week as the most generous corporation foundation. Diversity Inc., they're among the top 50 companies as far as diversity is concerned. That's very, very important to me. Ford rates them the top 100 best companies in the world. It just goes on and on. It's the only company, I believe, that has a AAA Standard & Poor's rating. In addition to just having a great brand and a great reputation, we are just a major player in the marketplace today in mortgage banking. More than 10,000 stores nationwide, including Wachovia, which was recently acquired, ranked 41 in revenue among all companies in the industry. In fact, I believe we have more stores than Walmart, believe it or not. Over 300,000 team members nationwide. Here's another thing you may not know about Wells Fargo. 1 of 3 households in America does business with this bank. We have 16.7 million combined active online customers, more than 8 million mortgage servicing customers. And on top of that, we are the nation's number 1 residential mortgage lender with market share of 23.5%, and that's all channels, retail, wholesale. Just in retail alone, we are 27.2% market share, over 9 million customers, 1.8 trillion owned mortgage service portfolio. This is a mega company doing great things. And those are all impressive things, but I think the most impressive thing about Wells Fargo is the close on time guarantee. Folks, it is an unprecedented commitment to closing a transaction on time. Talk about having some skin in the game. Did you know that if we do not close a transaction on or before the close of escrow date, we actually write a check to your client for their first month's principal and interest payment. Now, of course, the client had to cooperate and provide us all the documentation up front, and typically that's done. In fact, most transactions start off as a pre-approval, so we work out those details up front, and we know exactly what we're working with. And so if it's a delay on Wells Fargo's side, we will do the right thing for the customer. And, this is ideal for first-time home buyers because they are the least who can afford some of the added expenses when a transaction doesn't close on time, from per diems and having to extend their lease or their rent with their landlord. There's a host of additional expenses, and here they are scratching together their few dollars to get into an FHA, 3.5% down, and then you don't close on time. Well, it adds a great deal of stress to everyone in the transaction. Well, Wells Fargo is willing to step up and do the right thing for the customer if it is our fault. And, it's a one-page document. It's an actual agreement we give on every single transaction to show the client, your client, your buyer, and to show you as an agent, our client, that we are absolutely serious about providing excellent service, about closing a transaction on time, and making you look good. And when you look good, we look good, and we become great partners for life. So if you don't know about the close on time guarantee, you may know some of the other facts I've just shared with you about our company, but if you don't know about the close on time guarantee, please get a hold of us. Contact one of my team members at thedoitnowteam.com. And if you're outside of our market area, you can go to wellsfargo.com/mortgage and get in contact with a local home mortgage consultant, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. The Power is Now teleconference is a series of teleconference meetings designed to empower our real estate agent partners to sell more homes, expand their business of buyers and sellers, to be well informed about changes in lending and government programs that may affect your clients and your business. Please email me or call me if you have any questions about the program. You can reach me at 1-800-261-1634, extension 741, or any one of my team members, and we will tell you all about the teleconference, and we'll also find out how we can better support your business. This call is designed to be a resource for you, and we really appreciate the feedback and your suggested topics. If you're listening to the call for the first time, please email me at eric.frazier@thepowerisnow.com, eric.frazier@thepowerisnow.com, and we will add you to the mailing list. Next week, J.K. Huey, Senior Vice President for Short Sales and REO with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. She is a rock star in the default industry, and you will do yourself a serious disservice, folks, if you're not on the teleconference next week. Learn about what's happening with Wells Fargo's PAS agent network, what's happening with Wells Fargo's short sale pilot. There's a lot going on at Wells Fargo, and there's nobody who knows more about it than J.K. Huey. So I want to encourage you to tune in next week and listen to J.K. Huey. Last week, Marla Webb, president of Women in Default Services, perhaps one of the most influential women in real estate today, was on our teleconference talking about certifications. If you missed that, you can go to our website at thepowerisnow.com and listen to that call. If you're wondering what certification should I get, CDPE or SFR or, all the various certifications out there, well, Marla Webb really just tells it like it is, and she's been in the business a very long time. Certainly a teleconference you want to listen to. Well, our speaker today is Vickie Sherman, Vice President and Market Development Manager with Business Real Estate Finance at Wells Fargo Bank. Vickie was born and raised in San Francisco, California, went to San Francisco State with a degree in business management, and she has been with Wells Fargo for 34 years. And in her current position for the last 6 years, she has done everything from teller to branch manager. In fact, she was the first instructor hired with Wells Fargo when they first started selling or started installing ATM machines. Her job was to teach people how to service the machines and to encourage the customer to use the machine. I mean, that's really going back a while. She's happily married for 127 years, according to her husband, but actually 25. She has one daughter, 2 grandchildren, and she is a lung cancer survivor and has never smoked. Vickie, thank you for being on the teleconference today. The power is now.
Thank you, Eric. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, we really appreciate you spending time with us today and sharing with us, this great program. I'm excited to hear about our business financing, and I know that our customers, our agents out there on the line, are going to see this as another opportunity to expand their business. But before we get into that, I want to ask you, first of all, 34 years, Vickie? Are you kidding me? 34 years.
Well, they didn't have those child labor laws back in the day. They did let me start when I was 12, Eric, just so you know. I want everyone out there to know that.
Okay.
Except being a grandmother probably gave that away that I wasn't 12.
Absolutely. You should have took that out of the bio. But 34 years is a long time, Vickie. I mean, you have seen everything. You have seen everything, haven't you? I mean, this company has been around since the 1800s, so you're not that old. But you have seen a lot in 34 years. There's been some just remarkable accomplishments with Wells Fargo.
Absolutely, and I'm very, very proud to be to share my tenure with anybody who will listen. I'm very, very proud to be a part of Wells Fargo Bank. And yes, Eric, you're absolutely right. I have seen many mergers and acquisitions. I've had a role as a bank manager for over 17 years. Lots of transitions during the day, especially when I had that great fun job of saying, ladies and gentlemen, we have this new ATM. It's going to make your life so much easier. And the resistance was amazing. In fact, I remember talking about change. I remember my husband was one of the first to run out and buy a mobile phone for his truck. Came home and said, honey, I got a great deal. It was only $1,300. So as you can well imagine, yes, in the banking world, along with all the technology out there today, my 4-year-old grandson can play on my husband's iPhone, and he can move everything around, and it's just amazing with the technology we have today.
It really is. Technology is driving all the change in how we live, how we communicate with each other. It's driving change in business, how we conduct business today. I can only imagine, the difference you've seen 34 years ago and now. It's been a tremendous change, particularly in banking.
Absolutely.
Now, Vickie, one of the things here that I'm really impressed with is the fact that you are a lung cancer survivor and you never smoked. My father, God rest his soul, passed away from lung cancer, and in fact, he had lung cancer and prostate cancer. And cancer is just a devastating disease. How did you do it? Tell us the story briefly.
Well, it's a rather interesting story, and I share this with everyone, again, who will listen. Listen to your bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly am. I am only 54 years of age. I was at a meeting at my manager's house, thought I was having a heart attack, was feeling a little under the weather because I travel extensively, and my husband picked me up. Went to the hospital, and I fly a lot, and they were checking to make sure I didn't have a blood clot in my lungs. And lo and behold, I wake up the next morning to a doctor holding my hand and said, Vickie, you do not have a blood clot. You have a tumor in your lung, and you have cancer. I took it on like I take everything on in life, and we were able to remove the lobe, and I was in the hospital only for 8 or 9 days in intensive care, came home, took on the world, and said, you know what? I'm not going to let this get me down, and I am very proud to tell everyone I was back to work within 4 months, walking 2 miles in the morning and 2 in the evening to grow the lung capacity of what I had left. And I am very excited to share, Eric, that I had a cancer checkup last month, and I am completely cancer-free. So,
wow, well, God bless you. And that's incredible. Great story. And hopefully motivation for men and women out there to go get, your cancer screening, your cancer checkup. You just never know when it could sneak up on you.
Absolutely.
Well, Vickie, as you heard me in our introduction, this teleconference is called The Power is Now. What does the phrase "the power is now" mean to you?
I want all of you to act now. Eric, that was a great intro about talking about the power is now. Acting now, right now, ladies and gentlemen, is so important for you because with the program I want to talk to you about today, commercial real estate lending, with everything that's going on in our economy and everything that our president is talking about and really trying to help our small business owners, I've got a program that it fits right into the need of your customers. We have 27 million small business owners out there in the United States, and I've got a program that will help those small business owners. So let's act now because now is very, very important. Let's take advantage of it.
Well, now is the time. And so, Vickie, what a great segue into the presentation. Folks, if you are in front of your computers or laptops, please go to thepowerisnow.com. thepowerisnow.com, and you will see Vickie's PowerPoint presentation. It's right there, and you can follow along with her as she begins her presentation discussion on commercial real estate financing. Again, it's thepowerisnow.com. So, Vickie, let's talk about commercial real estate. What is the opportunity? That's a huge number you're talking about in terms of self-employed people and that are really, future customers.
Well, Eric, let's talk a little bit about, let me just share a couple statistics with you. Not only understanding that there are 27 million small business owners in the United States, let me just share a little bit of information that everyone should really think about, that there are 95% small business owners that own their personal residence. Some great opportunity there in talking to small business owners, as well as 22% take out mortgages on their personal residence. Another great opportunity in talking to your small business owners. 34% of those customers, here's what I want to talk to you about today, own commercial property. And 41% of those business owners also own investment real estate. It's very, very lucrative time right now for you to really start saying yes to small balance commercial owners as well as investors. We've got a great, great program that we want your real estate agents to take advantage of.
Well, that sounds very promising to know that, all of us have clients in our database, especially real estate professionals. You have clients in your database right now that you perhaps have sold a home to, or a second home, or a vacation home, and you never thought about asking them about upgrading their business, buying another business, another commercial building, another investment property. And so Wells Fargo has the product to assist them in diversifying their business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we want to go ahead and take a look on slide number 2 for those that you are following along, Eric, would you like me to go ahead and get started on this portion of the presentation?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Let's move right into it.
Fantastic. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for giving me your time today. And Eric, again, thank you for the invitation. I love talking about this program. I want to tell you I've been in this position for 6 years. I have the dream job. Working with all of you out there in the real estate market, we know we've had some tough times a couple of years ago, and yes, I rode that wave too. But right now, I'm seeing a spring coming out. Things are happening. Everybody is starting to see some real positive. And I want to take today to share something that's extremely positive for each and every one of you. Wells Fargo has a very unique, structured commercial real estate program that is targeted for the small commercial real estate transactions. Now, we take care of the mom and pops of America. We want to let you know that our loan request amount runs from $50,000 all the way up to $500,000. Now, there are 2 types of folks that we want to take care of. We have our investors and then we have that mom and pop, that owner-occupied type of property. In our particular property, this is how we differentiate between the two. If it's an owner-occupied, we know as business owners, it doesn't necessarily mean that they physically live at their business, but most do because they want to be a very profitable business owner. But how we identify a business owner is the owner occupies their business at least 51% of the square footage in that building. If they do not occupy at least 51% of that particular building, then it falls under an investor category. Now, a great value add with our program, let's say that an investor or an owner can't quite come up with the entire down payment, not to worry. We allow a seller carryback so that our loan to value can go up to 80%. Now, let's talk about the properties that we want to lend to. And I want you all to think about this when you drive back home, or if you're working out of your home, when you go to the grocery store today, you would be very surprised to find that you will find easily 5 properties that fit into our program. So let's review those if we can for a moment, Eric. We are looking for standalone retail locations or a small office, perhaps a warehouse, mixed-use property where a portion of it is residential and the rest of it is commercial. What do we mean by some special purpose? Well, in your first lesson of Commercial 101, when I talk about a special purpose property, I mean it's a movie theater or a bowling alley, or perhaps it's a restaurant. Those are what we mean by special purpose properties. You'd be hard-pressed to turn it into something else, or it would cost you a great deal of money. Now, keep in mind, with special purpose properties, Wells Fargo is one of the few financial institutions that will lend to special purpose properties. However, our loan to values are a little bit lower because of some risk that possibly could be involved with our special purpose. But keep in mind, we are one of the few lenders that will take care of those auto repair stores and restaurants.
Now, Vickie, most agents would probably just refer these people on to perhaps business brokers, because typically aren't these properties, movie theaters and bowling alleys and restaurants sold by business brokers? Real estate, they're licensed real estate agents, but they focus on business opportunities.
Well, Eric, what they can do is they can reach out to your team and you can take care of any of their need for any restaurant. They wouldn't necessarily need to go to the business broker for that, because now Wells Fargo can take care of that need. Did that answer your question for you, Eric? I'm sorry.
Yes, it does. So they don't need to go outside to someone, maybe a commercial lender, broker that provide financing. We can handle that here on our end. But from an agent's perspective, I was thinking that most agents would refer this out to an agent that specializes in business opportunities as opposed to trying to handle this themselves. And this is something they actually could. And working with Wells Fargo, this is a product that normally would be referred out that they could potentially handle themselves, and that means extra revenue for an agent who is willing to enter and diversify their business into that realm.
Right. And the one nice thing is that they want to reach out to their local representative with Wells Fargo, because we are working to help your team members with Wells Fargo not only work on the residential side and helping with the refinance market as well, but they are also going to be specialized in helping the real estate agents with any special purpose or business type of properties. So if you have an agent sitting in your office, ladies and gentlemen, that's sitting in the corner that specializes just in commercial, know that you can come to Wells Fargo Bank. We can help you take care of that client, and rather inexpensively. And I'm really excited about going through some pricing just to put things into perspective. The other thing is that we can also take care of, if I could just finish this thought on this slide here, is that we can also take care of the 5+ residential real estate market.
Now, is there a limit to that? 5+, 100, 200? How many units can we go?
Well, as long as the particular property we can lend, our maximum amount that we can lend up to is $500,000.
Okay.
So that would be the maximum that we can lend up to. But keep in mind, if the customer's coming to the table with a 30% down, we have a greater opportunity of a higher dollar amount. But that's the maximum. Again, Eric, we are dealing with the smaller investor as well as the small business owner as well.
Okay, great.
So one thing that I wanted to share, why would you even consider our program? Why do you want Wells Fargo to be your first choice for your client? Well, there's two major reasons. Number one, we can offer a commercial letter of interest. Basically, it's available prior to the contract signing to help speed up the purchase offer acceptance. Sometimes we have individuals that want to purchase a piece of property, but they haven't got the executed contract agreement, but they have a property picked out. Keep in mind, I do want to stress this, we do not pre-qualify. I need an address, Eric, in our program.
Okay.
But we will issue the commercial letter of interest for any eligible commercial property. We can take care of that need. Also, we have additional options to fill the different customer needs. We have a variety of fixed as well as variable rates that run from terms from anywhere from 5 to 30 years. Now, the closing of title can be as an individual. We'll take care of an LLC, a corporation, and we will also take care of a partnership. So we've got a wide variety of terms available. In fact, in my 6 years in this business, in this industry, working in small commercial lending, we are at historical all-time low rates. Now, today's not the venue to go through rates. We'd want them to contact one of your folks to take care of that need. But trust me, as a veteran with a Wells Fargo Bank, we are seeing historical all-time low. Excuse me for that.
Now, Vickie, on the terms here, what's the sweet spot here? I mean, is a 30-year a fully amortized loan? Or
we do a lot of 25 due in 25 because with commercial lending, for the real estate agents out there who've never done commercial, very common in commercial lending to have balloon payments that are due. Mm-hmm. So one of our sweet spots is that we do a 10 with a 25-year amortization or a 15 and 15. Mm-hmm. That way they avoid those balloon payments. But again, we work very closely with the client to make sure that we can help them meet their financial goal. And is that goal that they want to extend the rate? Do they want shorter terms? Do they like something that's more variable? Or is it a fixed interest rate that they're a little bit more interested in? So we take excellent care of the customer to make sure that they meet their financial goal when they're purchasing a piece of property, commercial property.
Now, Vickie, on the title, you're willing to close as an individual or an LLC, corporation, or partnership. Can the client form a corporation specifically for the purposes of taking title of the property they're going to buy, or does it have to be an existing established corporation?
That's an excellent question, Eric, and thank you for addressing that. We cannot, in the middle of a transaction, have them change the title. They need to come to the table with the title. And I deal a lot with the LLCs. There's many folks out there that want to become investors because there's so much supply out there. And so I deal a lot with LLCs, and I let them know you need to form that LLC prior to coming to the table because that is how we are going to close on the title when we encumber the lien under the LLC. And by the way, I do want to share that these are recourse loans, not non-recourse loans. So we do require a personal guarantor on these loans.
So, Vickie, define a little bit more for our audience the difference between recourse and non-recourse.
Well, when we have a recourse loan, that means that the personal guarantor is needed, and then we would have to, unfortunately, and we hope to never have to do this, but go after the individuals that are guaranteeing the loan. If it's a non-recourse, then we would go after the corporation instead of the individuals. That's the difference between the two.
So liability is on the individual, personally, as well as on their business, as opposed to liability solely being on the business.
That is correct, Eric. Perfect.
So non-recourse It's just on the business. Recourse is on the business and all your personal assets.
That is correct.
All right.
All right, let's move forward and talk about why our program, again, would be a first choice for your client. Here's our sweet spot. This is what I'm excited about. First of all, it is so incredibly easy for your customer to apply. Number one, there is no application fee. I will share with you that we have other lenders out there that charge application fees, appraisal fees. For another lender to take care of a customer and a commercial loan, just to put things into perspective, for a $300,000 loan, it would not be unheard of for a customer to spend almost $13,000. However, your borrower, by going through Wells Fargo Bank, we simply charge a 1% loan origination fee. 1%. So for that $300,000 loan, they would only pay $3,000. Your borrower is going to receive multiple pricing options. Now, one thing that we do is we do ask for a $1,000 good faith deposit upon their accepting of their terms, and that is applied to their closing fees. We also will accept the loan terms. We guarantee that rate that they have selected for 60 days. And again, as I mentioned, we only charge 1% loan origination fee with a minimum closing cost of $2,500. No appraisal fee, saving the customer thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars, and the borrower pays little. They just simply pay the title and state-related fees or mortgage tax, depending on the state that they are purchasing. Remember, this program is available nationwide. The most important thing I can drive home is that a very well-prepared borrower will be able to close in less than 60 days. That's very, very important. I also want to share with you, Eric, and this is news for you, that Wells Fargo, in our program for our realtors, we are offering a special that will begin on April 15th.
All right.
And that will run through June 30th. And we're going to not let my boss know that I'm sharing this information, but we are going to be waiving that 1% loan origination fee.
Wow.
For any client who is doing a purchase from $250,000 to $500,000. So remember, you didn't hear it from me, but I just want to make sure that everyone out there is aware of it.
So that's April 15th to June 30th. We are waiving the 1% origination fee.
That is correct for any loan amount from $250,000 all the way up to $500,000. Now, when we go to orders to process the loan, we will still ask for that good faith $1,000 deposit. We give it right back to the customer when we fund the loan.
Wow. You know, I'm amazed because I don't do commercial loans, so I'm amazed at the cost. You're saying on about a $300,000 loan, it would typically cost a borrower $13,000. Are you kidding me? $13,000 for just $300,000 because of the fees?
Right. There's a variety of junk fees that are up front, and I've heard of some really horrible stories in my years of working in commercial lending where paying for the appraisal can be astronomical. We absorb that cost. We take care of paying for the appraisal for the customer. So very inexpensive, very low cost to close by saying yes to Wells Fargo, and that's why we want Wells Fargo to be your first choice with your client when you are doing a commercial loan.
Now, Vickie, what are some of the costs? Are they typical with, say, the same type of closing cost on a residential property?
Well, the closing cost is just one flat fee.
Okay.
So we cover everything, and so we take care of the appraisal. We use a company called Retech that will actually go out and do the appraisal, and then it's all the title search and just all of the, just the nitty-gritty that's involved in processing a loan. We absorb all that cost. So that's why we have this just umbrella of one fee. Covers everything.
So these are real hard costs. There's no junk at all in this program.
No junk fees. No.
Wow.
Now, let me just back up the train for 1 second, if I may.
Okay.
If you have a customer who has an environmentally sensitive property, we may have to go out and use an environmental insurance company that we use, and the customer may have to pay for environmental insurance. But that never comes as a surprise to the customer. Customers who come to us for lending know if they have an environmentally sensitive property.
Well, that is really an incredible, program from the cost standpoint and the flexibility. Now, you mentioned, though, a well-prepared, qualified borrower can close in 60 days. What is the actual average turn time of a commercial transaction?
Eric, right now we are running between 60 to 70 days.
Okay.
And one thing that causes a slowdown is the customer trying to get, especially this time of year, trying to get their tax returns.
Right,
We're
yes.
so glad when the 15th is over because we're then going to have their 2010 taxes. But we are working to help the borrower. We do everything to help the borrower be prepared for their application interview, which, by the way, is done right over the telephone. There is no inconvenience to the customer. They can do it right from the comfort of their home, and that's how we take their application.
Well, that's fantastic. Convenient, great pricing, low cost.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. Shall we talk about who this program's tailored for?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Now, for all my real estate agents out there, this is really, really important, especially in today's environment and our economic conditions that are happening. We want to make sure that we have a strong credit profile borrower. Keep in mind that if you have a client that has had a history of a foreclosure, unfortunately, or a bankruptcy, we cannot take care of that particular customer. We want to have that customer who's been able to manage their personal and business credit and get through this very difficult economic cycle. And we know as business owners sometimes there is that ebb and flow. But we are looking for the strong credit profile borrower. Also, we want to make sure that you understand that we take care of the small business owners who have owned and operated their business for at least 2 years. That is one of our requirements. And investors, if you have someone who wants to purchase an investment property, a 5+, remember you'll go to Eric's group if you have a 1 to 4, but you'll still go to Eric's group for anything that's 5+, but that's where my team will take over. If you have an investor that wants to purchase a property, they need to have at least 80% of that property leased and generating a positive cash flow at the time of application. We don't want somebody that's going in and trying to buy something that's in the middle of a rehab and they don't have renters, they don't have any seasoned lease agreements. We will need seasoned lease agreements, and what we mean by seasoned lease agreements, we're comfortable with just a lease agreement that's out there for 3 months. That would be considered seasoned for us. But remember, the investment property must have a positive cash flow. And for those first-time investors, and I'm talking to more and more of them, they need to have exceptional credit, stable property cash flow, as well as a secondary source of income is acceptable. We need to have that in order to help that first-time investor. But I'm dealing with many of those that have been investing for many years and that have survived the crazy couple of years that we've had in the past. Mm-hmm. So those are the program that we're tailored to. And Eric, if I may just take one more minute to go into the next slide.
Sure. And
talk about who the program is not tailored for.
Okay.
So we want to look at your customers, if they have marginal credit profile, the borrowers have any history, again, of foreclosures, bankruptcies, perhaps tax liens, or they've had to unfortunately experience a short sale, whatever the case may be, we can't have a marginal credit profile. Also, no startups or newly acquired businesses. Remember, I need to make sure, and Eric, let's just use the two of us. We own a flower shop, and the two of us have been very, very profitable business owners, and we've owned that business for at least 2 years.
Okay.
If we want to, expand to buy another flower shop, we're great. But if we want to go buy an Italian restaurant, well, first of all, I don't even know if you know how to cook. I do, but pasta is one of my specialties. However, we are not part of a startup, just so that you know.
I see.
Okay?
Okay.
And then for our investor properties, we need to make sure that there is no more than 20% vacancy at the time of the application. Now, occasionally we've had a situation where it's fully occupied. Someone decides to move, but they're renting it. We're okay with that. But again, I can't have something that is empty and we're planning on buying it and filling it with tenants. No, that wouldn't work. Rehab properties are properties with a lot of deferred maintenance repairs needed. Unfortunately, no, we cannot take care of those types of properties. Or if we have a property needing a zoning variance or properties that have potential environmental contaminants. We have a hard time getting Zurich, who is our insurance company that we use for our environmental insurance. So if you've got a big potential environmental contaminants on site, when we go out to inspect and we see something oozing from the ground or barrels in the backyard full of oil or something like that, we may have an issue with that. And again, in our program, we cannot take care of anything that is a residential 1 to 4. They would want to come to you, Eric, for that.
Well, certainly, and we will provide them great service like it sounds like you're doing each and every day for these commercial clients. I want to dive a little deeper here on slide number 5 for those of you who are following along on the Powers Now website. You mentioned strong credit profile. Is there a minimum FICO requirement?
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. I apologize for not mentioning that. Ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do is you need to make sure that the credit, we need a FICO of 700. That is our minimum FICO score required in our program. The other thing that we will do if we have multiple borrowers, and again, Eric, I'm going to use the two of us as an example.
Sure.
You have a 750 FICO and I have a 700. What we're going to do is we're going to use the average of the two. So 725 will be the FICO score that we will use for this particular loan request.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that question.
Not a problem. So 700
FICO.
Is
Yes.
the absolute minimum. Now, no history. In residential lending, a person can have a bankruptcy or foreclosure, and as long as it's seasoned for, a minimum of 2 years, depending on the circumstances, or as long as 4 or 5 years. But you're saying here that if they have ever filed for bankruptcy or been had a foreclosed property, they can never qualify. Is that correct?
That is correct. Because of the inherent risk which is a little bit greater when we're doing commercial loans, we have to look at a bankruptcy and we will excuse anything after 10 years, which typically does fall off of their bureau.
Okay.
So it's important to note that if they've had a bankruptcy, we do have to wait 10 years before we can move forward.
Now, I'm really surprised because there's been some, we'll call it tightening of our underwriting guidelines on the residential side as it relates to investors, especially first-time investors. The idea that, most of us who own other property, our first property that became our rental was the home we were living in, and we were able to buy another home, and we used the projected rents of our existing home to be able to qualify to buy another home. I'm really surprised in commercial lending that you have a first-time investor program because some of the advantages that existed in the market before from an underwriting standpoint no longer exist. If you don't have experience, 2 years of tax returns with a Schedule E showing rental income, we won't allow you to use the rental income for the departing resident. So in this case, a first-time investor with exceptional credit, you're doing that. This is the first time that they're buying into a business or they're buying an investment property. You allow that program.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm working right now with a couple of gentlemen that are actually commercial pilots. So we know that their source of income is great, and they've got some money set aside, and they're buying up some areas, some fiveplexes in the Sacramento area, taking advantage of that. So they've got the opportunity there because they have that secondary source of income to take care of the need, and they are looking, one thing that I'm trying to educate these first-time investors on, you need to find a stable property with a positive cash flow.
Okay.
And that's the one thing that I really, really want to stress. What we're looking for when we say positive cash flow in our program, just to give you a little bit more insight,
Sure.
we want to make sure that fiveplex, I like using fiveplex as my example all the time, we want to make sure that the cash flow has a debt service coverage ratio of at least 1.35.
Really?
Basically, for every dollar in debt, we need $1.35 in income.
Okay.
That's about our average, just so that for all of our folks listening out there, when you're dealing with that first-time investor, they can't go buy a dud. That's the bottom line. We'll have a hard time approving that loan, so make sure they're looking for positive cash flow. And, you know, why not? If you're going to be investing, you want to make darn sure that you're going to have the renters, the stability of the cash coming in.
Well, I'm amazed then that it would be easier actually for a first-time investor to buy a 5-unit commercial property than it would be to buy a residential property. That's amazing.
Well, you know, again, we need to make sure that credit's good. And what
Yes.
I'm seeing, Eric, just so you know, I've got a few that are happening right now. We're seeing the FICOs. It's very interesting. You know, we talk about our industry and some tough times. Many of our business owners, our FICOs average 770. That is darn good news. And the folks that are doing these first-time investor, I'm dealing with FICOs greater than 800.
Really?
So those are the people that are saying, you know what, I need to get on this bandwagon. I need to make a little bit of extra money. I think it's time for me to start investing. And we've got the program for them.
So there are well-qualified borrowers who've got great credit, plenty of money in the bank. They have a solid secondary source of income, and they see what's happened to the commercial market. And also the residential market. And this is the time to jump in. What a really a great opportunity with the flexibility that the program has for us, for agents to really start targeting these first-time investors and looking at 5 units or more and leveraging the flexibility that comes with this program. Now, one other question here before we go to slide number 7 for those of you who are watching on the PowerPoint. How do you validate vacancies? How are you doing that? Because in your previous comment here, you say that is definitely 20% or less, right, is the vacancy factor. How are you validating that? Through the tax returns or through the lease agreement? How do you do that?
Well, we do 2 things, Eric. We go out. First of all, we ask for a rent roll.
Okay.
We will take what's called an estoppel agreement as well if the seller is not willing to share the rent roll, and basically the rent roll telling us the square footage, what they're receiving in rents monthly, and when their lease will be expiring. And we also physically go out and we inspect. We look at the property to ensure that these units are indeed rented. We don't ask them to clean their apartment before we show up, but we don't really judge on the cleanliness of one's apartment. However, we do make sure that the inspector will go out and verify that, power's turned on and that there are families or individuals living in this, again, 5-plex. So it's twofold. The rent roll, we verify that, and we also will go out and do the actual inspection. Great question.
Well, Vickie, this has been a lot of great information, and I'm so glad that this call is being recorded, and our audience has the benefit of the PowerPoint presentation, so they don't have to actually take notes. They can listen and print out, in fact, this PowerPoint presentation that's on the Powers Now website. Before we address what a client needs to prepare, what he needs to prepare to apply for a commercial loan, we're going to have the operator give instructions to ask questions, and so people can line up with their questions, and we'll finish off this last slide. So go ahead, operator.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question at this time, please press star then 1 on your touchtone telephone. If your question has been answered and you wish to remove yourself from the queue, please press the pound key. Once again, if you have a question, please press star then 1 at this time.
Okay, Vickie, so what does it take to get started?
What does it take to get started? Well, the first thing that we would want our real estate folks to do, our agents to do, is contact a Wells Fargo home mortgage employee to help them source. We've got some great flyers and information about our program to feel comfortable with what educating the realtors how this particular program works, and reaching out to their source of business for the customers that are looking to purchase commercial property or those that are looking for an investment property. That's how you get started. That's where I would really recommend that you begin your journey.
So they have a client and they're ready to apply. What do they
are ready to apply. Okay, so here's what they're going to want to do. The very first thing that we do, and let me just kind of digress, and I'll go through how the process works to make everybody feel really comfortable.
Okay.
We have dialed in and have an amazing model that I'm very, very excited about. Our loan center, Eric, is located actually in Phoenix, Arizona. Get the pleasure of enjoying that heat during the summer, but now that I live in Palm Desert, I get the same thing. Anyway, but what we want to do is what we will do is have the agent contact one of the Wells Fargo home mortgage consultants. We'll get that information on the borrower. We submit a referral. One of my very educated, professional commercial loan experts will contact the customer and do a needs analysis to make sure that we are taking care of the need of the customer, the property that they want to purchase. Make sure that they have an executed contract agreement. If not, then the individual would be handed back over to me until they find a piece of property that they're ready to go with. We will then talk to the customer about our amazing program, and then what we will do is we schedule an application appointment, again, as I mentioned, right over the phone, preparing the client to say these are the tax returns, have this financial information available. We record the call for compliance reasons. We then run the customer's credit. So the realtors, the HMC, no one needs to run credit. When we go to application, we'll take care of all of that. Once the customer has reached they have the FICO score that we need to meet our initial credit review, we then will work with your client directly, take excellent care of them, and let them know that there are a variety of tax documents, things that we need in order for our underwriters to make sure that we can move forward with the loan. That's really all we need to do, and we take care of everything on behalf of the real estate agent, and we will be working with the home mortgage consultant on your team, Eric, so that they can stay in touch with the real estate agent to let them know how things are going.
Now, Vickie, this program is nationwide, right? So
yes.
It doesn't matter, they can work here in Orange County with a local loan consultant, or if they're in Texas, or what about New York? Is there any place where this everywhere?
There's not a single state that we cannot offer this purchase program to. I'd love to join you if you think we should go with the appraiser to Hawaii. I welcome that if you need some help, but you won't have to worry about the appraisal. We can take care of it. And darn it, they don't ever let me go with them.
Well, this is great. Operator, do we have any questions for Vickie?
Joe, we didn't have any questions, sir.
Okay. Well, Vickie, we're doing a pretty good job in being comprehensive here, so we're going to go a few more minutes and ask for questions again, and then close out this fabulous teleconference. You've done an awesome job so far. This is a fabulous program. So the process seems very simple, very easy to get started, and you and your team, you do most of the work.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. We take care of everything. We do. I always like to say we do all the heavy lifting. And we've been in this business for 10 years. Our business real estate financing has actually been around for 10 years. I worked with the wholesale brokerage firms for many of the years before we were working with our home mortgage team, and they absolutely love this program. And the nice thing, Eric, the one thing that I really want to drive home is how inexpensive this commercial lending program is. 1% loan origination fee and any closing cost, title, and escrow in the state of California for us. And if it's in any other state, whatever their state taxes are. That is the biggest bonus that I really want to share with all of our realtors that are listening today, that Wells Fargo should be your first choice when you're dealing with a small commercial loan in the up to that $500,000. And in order to prepare your client, how do we get started? Once you have found that customer, one thing that you want to make sure that will make the transition move and the transaction move through the process much faster is if they have that executed signed agreement for sale. Mm-hmm. They need to have the signed purchase contract. It's required. We must have it prior to going out and ordering the appraisal. The appraisals are expensive, but we are going to absorb the cost of that appraisal. And for the investor, again, as I mentioned, we need to have a completed rent roll if they have more than one unit, the property income and expense statement, signed lease agreements for all of the existing tenants, and additionally, we have to spread the financials. So therefore, we're going to ask for 2 years federal tax returns, both business and personal, and if owner-occupied for all of the borrowers. So if we have a portion of that that's being rented on the if they're buying a commercial piece of property, back to Vickie and Eric owning that flower shop, Eric, we're going to have to let our spouses know that we have to give them our personal tax returns as well.
Right. Wow.
That's really all they need to do to apply. It's that simple.
Well, you know, we like keeping it simple, right? We like keeping it simple, and that makes it easy for agents and to engage themselves in the marketing aspect of this, and it makes it easy. It also makes for a pleasant experience for the customer. We're all about the customer experience here at Wells Fargo, are we not?
That we are, and you know, that is one thing that I pride myself on in my 34 years. I had an amazing mentor when I started when I was a kid, and I learned the first thing that I need to do is it's not about the sales, but it's about the relationship. It's building the relationship. And when I was a bank manager, building the relationship was something I taught all of my bankers and my tellers. A customer will come back to you and refer their friends if they've had a good experience or a great experience. You know, you only have that one chance to make that first impression, and that is something I live by. I always try to make it fun, make it light, be very knowledgeable, and be very forthright about what this program's about. And one thing that I always say, Eric, when I am teaching the team out there that go to the realtors, that this program is not only easy, it's very easy, and finally, it is extremely easy.
I love that. Well, it's 11:30, and we are out of time. Operator, do we have any questions on the line?
I'm showing no questions, sir.
Okay. Vickie, thank you so much for joining us today on The Power is Now. It's 11:30 in the morning, and perhaps many realtors are out there knocking on doors and making things happen. I know we have quite a few on the call today, and they're digesting this information, and we'll be able to continue to digest this information by listening to the replay, which will be available sometime tomorrow. You'll be able to go to thepowerisnow.com and listen to this entire conversation over again, as well as view the PowerPoint presentation that will remain on the website. So please continue to listen each and every week to The Power Is Now, where we try to bring information like this to help you grow your business, expand your business, gain more buyers and sellers. And I think, Vickie, what you said about relationships is so important. I want to encourage our audience to establish relationships with referral partners. Do you have a relationship with a commercial banker? Do you have a relationship with a business broker? Because within your own database, all the customers and clients you've dealt with over the years, they may be business owners, and you could work out a referral arrangement and referring and finding out what their needs are, referring them to a business broker or a commercial broker, and play a role in helping to get them the best financing, the absolute best financing for small business commercial on the marketplace with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Vickie, I want to give you an opportunity for some parting comments, and then I have just a few announcements, and we'll end the call.
Well, Eric, again, on behalf of Wells Fargo Bank, I want, and all of those listening out there, I want to thank you for taking time out of your very, very busy day. Sometimes it helps to just stop and really take a few minutes for you and have that life balance. And I really want to let you know that this is indeed an amazing program. Your clients will be taken care of. I absolutely promise that, and I share that you cannot find a better commercial deal out there. I guarantee it. In fact, we have the best rate and fee out there. We guarantee it, and we stand by that phrase. So, Eric, I'll let you take it away, and thank you again for this great opportunity.
Well, folks, if you're interested in the commercial program, you can work with any Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant in your area. You can contact a member of my team at the doitnowteam.com, the doitnowteam.com, and we call ourselves the Do It Now team because we work with a sense of urgency. Or you can go to wellsfargo.com/mortgage and get in contact with a local mortgage consultant, and he can help you and help your client take advantage of this wonderful commercial program. Folks, I want to remind you again about tomorrow's event in Orange County at National University. I'm really excited about it. You're going to learn a lot. Please tell your friends, your fellow associates to get over to National University Costa Mesa campus at 3390 Harbor Boulevard in Costa Mesa. It starts at 9:30 in the morning, will end at 12 o'clock. It's $25 for non-members, and it's free for members. And you can register at ocareb.org/events. Register and listen to Carla Dennis just tell you how it is with dealing with the IRS and what you need to do in your business. And Tom Oliphant and his new position with Infinity National and the great opportunities that exist there. It's going to be a great event, folks. Please go to the website and join us tomorrow. I want to say hello to some new friends. I was at the Ario Mac dinner and conference this week. It was really fabulous, folks, especially the appreciation night. Just an incredible presentation. TheArtOfBusiness.com. Check that out. TheArtOfBusiness.com. Just an incredible, dynamic speaker. And I had met some people who are Power Is Now listeners from Rhode Island, New York, to Connecticut, to Maryland. I want to say hello to Celine Johnson, to Na Lee, and Eva Safer. I hope that you enjoyed the teleconference today. This call is nationwide, folks. In all 50 states, we have people listening all over the country, and we really appreciate their support. And we're looking forward to continuing to bring more programming that can help you grow your business, expand your business, and just learn how to be more effective as a real estate broker, agent, listing agent, buyer's agent, REO broker, whatever you are, whatever your business model is. Now, next week, J.K. Huey, rock star in the default industry, is going to be on the teleconference. And the title of the call is, So Why Do They Call It a Short Sale When There's Nothing Short About It? She's going to be talking about HAFA versus proprietary short sales, bank-owned versus loan service for others, the complexities of multiple interested parties, There's a lot of things. We're going to be also talking about the PAS Agent Network, the changes that are going down right now as we speak. There's a lot to talk about. I'm really looking forward to that teleconference. Please tell your friends and your fellow associates to get on The Power is Now, same telephone number, same time next week. Well, folks, that's another wrap of The Power is Now. The call is being recorded and will be available for listening sometime between now and Saturday. You can listen to it at thepowerisnow.com. Remember, the power is now. We are at our best, and we maximize our success when we act now. Thank you for joining the call. See you next week at The Power is Now. Have an awesome day.